It was actually Stardom. It was the first company that I started watching in Japan, probably because it's the biggest female one. And yeah, I mean, obviously everyone that starts watching it falls in love with it because the women are just crazily incredible.
Ohayou gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, for whenever you're listening to the Joshi Pod, your weekly podcast about the world of Japanese women's wrestling. Joshi Wrestling. I'm your host, Eric Howard, coming to you from beautiful San Diego, California. First of all, I want to wish you guys all a very happy New Year. Hope you had a safe and fun New Year's. I hope everybody visiting Japan for the biggest international week of wrestling is enjoying themselves. If you're listening from Japan, please shoot me a tweet at the Joshi Pod. Last week's episode with Alex Gracia was our most listened to show to date. I sincerely appreciate all the support you've given this little podcast. It was pretty humbling to see the download numbers that came out from the first couple days when the podcast dropped. So again, thank you guys so much. I would still like you guys to go to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. You have no idea how much it means to a podcast, especially a little guy like me, by reviewing it and putting a rating. I would sincerely appreciate it. I also got my first taste of negativity, which was quite interesting, but I guess it comes with the territory. Somebody claimed that I planned the interview with Alex Gracia to counter what other people said negatively about Kagetsu. Can tell you that I did not plan that. But I guess, like I said, it comes with the territory getting criticized on the internet. On the show this week, we do have our 3-count headlines of the week, including even more retirements and a title change from Pro Wrestling Wave. We review Ice Ribbon's RibbonMania show from December 31st. We look ahead at the huge week of shows in Tokyo. This is the biggest week outside of WrestleMania week in the world. There's so many stacked shows. The Tokyo Joshi Pro show this week is completely stacked. We'll go over that card and we'll look at some of the other shows going on this week. We'll see look ahead even further to see where Joshi performers are performing outside of Japan. And in our big main event interview, we speak with Australia's own Avary, who competed in the 2019 5-Star Grand Prix for Stardom. I was actually at the last day of the Grand Prix and saw her defeat Sumire Natsu. If you've listened to this show before, you know how much I love Natsu, and you know I had to ask Avary about her. Without further delay, let's get to the biggest headlines from this past week that are brought to you by Quiet White Designs. If you need a logo for a t-shirt, podcast, or anything else, please reach out to Nolan and the team at Quiet White Designs. You can search for them on Facebook at QUIETWYATT, one word, Designs. You can also find their products on Redbubble. The t-shirt design that I have on ProWrestlingTees.com/TheJoshipod was also designed by Quiet White Designs. Again, reach out to Nolan and the team at Quiet White Designs. They'll take good care of you. Headline number 1. Nozaki? No. Champion. Nijisa Nozaki defeated Takumi Iroha to win the Regina de Wave Championship this past week. In the build for this match, Nozaki did go to a marvelous show and defeat Iroha. Iroha also defeated Nozaki on a show, so they were kind of 1-1. So this was the tiebreaker, if you will. And Iroha doesn't lose a whole lot at marvelous shows, so it was a sign that Nozaki was up to the task and the next top person for Pro Wrestling Wave. Iroha is amazing. Nozaki's clearly the number 1 for Wave, with Hiroe recently announcing her retirement, who's just 24. The future Wave is kind of up in the air. Nozaki is the youngest of the core Wave group. Wave could use an influx of young talent, but Nozaki is the right person to be the champion right now, and hopefully she has a pretty good title run in her. Headline number 2. Thank you, the women of Gato Move. The Gato Move On Demand service went live on January 1st. When you sign up, the first 7 days are free. The sign-up process is really simple. I was able to do it really quickly. To sign up, do what Lulu Pencil said and go to GatoMoveX, GatoHmoveX.pivotshare.com. Gato Move has also put some new t-shirts available on their Pro Wrestling Tees store. They have some different styles of t-shirts. Check it out. But yeah, if you want the full experience from Ichikaya without having to go to Ichikaya, get the Gato Move experience and see what all the hype and hoopla is about. I hype and hoopla them a whole lot. But the first couple of videos they have on there are pretty awesome, and you're going to get a better idea of what Gato Move and Ichikaya is all about. Headline number 3, putting their differences aside. So Dave Meltzer reported that AEW and New Japan's relationship has changed. He's not saying there's a formal working agreement yet, but he says that the hostilities kind of simmered a bit. Could that mean more Stardom talent in AEW? Stardom's talent is all over AEW already, with B. Priestley and Riho, Jamie Hayter, and others. But you wonder if it opens the door possibly for Mayu Iwatani to come in for a show, or for Konami or Jungle Kiona or Hana Kimura, who I think would be an absolute super duper star in America if she made the jump. But you just wonder if, with the Bushiroad tie to New Japan and just building that bridge and maybe ignoring a little bit of the Ring of Honor relationship that New Japan has, that it's a possibility we're going to see more Stardom talent in the U.S. Riho's been super successful, I think, as a champion so far. The crowd is really into her. I don't want to say there's better talent than her in Stardom, but I think there is. And I think there's people who could do what she does and more on the Stardom roster. I think, like I said, I think Hana could be the mainstream superstar that Joshi Wrestling's needed for quite a long time.
まもなく2番線に
The show of the week this week is the RibbonMania 2019 from New Year's Eve at Kurikan Hall, which drew over 1,300 fans. It's Ice Ribbon's biggest show of the year. The show opened up with a gauntlet tag team match. I'm not going to go over all the names, but at the end, Akane Fujita and Asahi defeated Bani Okawa and Humuko Hoshi to win the match at the end. Fun opener, sloppy at times. Some other names in the match are Tei Honma, Yappy, Ram Kai Chao, and Rini Yamashita. Ram Kai Chao, who will absolutely want to meet when I go back to Japan. Again, fun opener. Akane Fujita, who will be doing an excursion over to the U.S. in March and April, I believe, of this year, 2020. Hopefully we'll get her on the show as well while she's in the U.S. The next match was a singles match when Shuri Kondo got the submission win over Risa Sera. A lot of knees from Risa Sera. Suri uses her MMA background to help her get the win. I'm not sure if Suri will commit to wrestling full-time or should continue to pursue an MMA career. She's doing pretty well with both, but she's 30 years old now, so she's at the prime of both careers, so let's see what she decides to do for the rest of 2020. The next match was the International Ribbon Tag Team match, where Tsukasa Fujimoto and Tsukushi, the champions, retained over Ibuki Hoshi and Suzu Suzuki. Nice old school tag team work from Hoshi and Suzu. Everybody went all out for this one. It was a whole lot of fun. This is a really well-worked match, a fun match, and it's worth going out of your way to seeing this one. The next match was the Ice Xfinity title match, where Maya Yukihi defeated Maika Ozaki. Maya is the ace of Ice Ribbon, and she picked up a nice win over Ozaki. Maya is being very aggressive in this match, showed little respect for the Yuna Manase-trained Ozaki. Ozaki did show some of her powerlifting background to muscle around Maya during parts of the match, but Maya Yukihi is the champion heading into 2020. The final match on the show was the Tequila Saya retirement match, where she had a gauntlet where she wrestled 30-something people in 1-minute matches. Some of the highlights, she went to the time limit draw with most people, which you obviously can understand with just a minute. Tei Honma, Maika Ozaki was in the match. Hiroye, who's retiring, or I said earlier in the shows, was in this match. Ram Kai Chao, Shuri was in the match. Rini Yamashita, they all went to time limit draws. Arisa Sera, Tequila did beat Manami Toyota in 40 seconds. And at the end, Suzu Suzuki pinned Tequila Saya, and then Tequila did a speech at the end of the show with her calling it a career. She's still working at a restaurant I think a bar and restaurant in Tokyo, which I hope to attend next time I'm there. But again, a fun show. Go out of your way to watch it. It's their biggest show of the year, 1,300 fans in Kurikan Hall. It's a very nice crowd, and very comparable to Stardom's end of the year climax. This as far as the number of people in the crowd. Stardom gets a lot of attention for a lot of fans, but in Japan, 1,300 fans is nothing to sneeze at, and they're showing they are at an equal level as Stardom.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Steve. I'm the host of The Last Podcast You'd Want. Do you like movies? Well, that's what we talk about. I bring a guest on, maybe more than one, and we talk about movies they like, movies they don't like, movies from their childhood, movies that give them nightmares. Just some of the few topics that we talk about on The Last Podcast You'd Want. So if you like movies, you could find us on Apple Podcast, you could find us on Google Podcast, you could find us on most major podcast outlets. Tip the veal, try the staff, check out the show.
The shows in Japan this week on tonight, January 3rd, Ice Ribbon is at the Ice Ribbon Dojo in Saitama. I received an autograph picture from Yappy this past week. Thank you, Yappy. I'm trying to get her as a guest on the show in the near future. Also on the 3rd, Stardom's at Shinkiba First Ring. Mayu Iwatani and Saki Kashima face Kagetsu and Hana Kimura. Kind of the old Oedo Tai reunited as for one night as part of Kagetsu's retirement tour. Also on the 3rd, Julia and Andres Miyagi face Natsuko Tora and Joshi Pod alum Zoe Sky. On the 4th, Tokyo Joshi Pro has a completely stacked card at Korakuen Hall. I wish I could be there for this show. I'm going to watch it on the DDT streaming service, and this will be the show that I review next week. The main event is Miyu Yamashita challenging for the Princess of Princess title against Yuka Sakazaki. I think we're going to see a title change there. We're going to get Miyu as the champion again, where she belongs. Maki Ito defends her International Princess Championship against Hikari Noah. I think Maki retains and takes the title to Pro Wrestling Eve, where she'll be part of Wrestle Queendom. My girl Rika and Miyu Yamashita defend the tag titles against the Bakaretsu sisters, Yuki Aino and Nadoko Tenma. I think the champions will retain there. There's so much more on the card. Those 3 matches are amazing. There's so much more. Sari faces Natsumi Maki. Pam Harajuku's on the same team as Aja Kong, which I cannot wait to see. Thunder Rosa returns to Japan. Saki-sama faces Yuki Kamafuku. Probably the only 2 women on the Tokyo Joshi Pro roster as tall as I am. But I weigh like 10 times more than all of them, both of them combined probably. But that should be a whole lot of fun seeing those 2 go at it. And then Shoko Nakajima also faces Hyper Misao. Again, a stacked card, and we'll review it next week. Also on the 4th, Ice Ribbon's at Yokohama Radiant Hall in the morning, and then Diana has a show there in the evening. On the 4th, also Stardom's at KFC Hall, which is near Ryogoku. The Stars team of Mayu Iwatani, Arisa Hoshiki, and Starlight Kid face Momo Watanabe, AZM, and Utami Hayashishida, which should be an absolutely terrific match. And then also on that card, Julia and Andres Miyagi face Hana Kimura and Death Yamasan. And then Arisa, Mayu, Julia, and Hana will head quickly to the Tokyo Dome and be the dark match at the start of Wrestle Kingdom at the Tokyo Dome, like I said. And so they have the double header there pretty quickly. They'll have to make the trip over pretty quick. It's not too far away, but they got double duty on the 4th. On the 5th at Shinjuku Face, Sendai Girls have a show in the morning, and then Oz Academy are there in the evening. Tokyo Joshi Pro is at Itabashi Green Hall. Seedlings at Shinkiba First Ring, with the main event of Nanai Takahashi, Ryo Mizunami, and Emi Sakura facing Yoshiko, Hiroyo Matsumoto, and I think one of the best up-and-comers, Ayame Sasamura from 2AW. I was able to see her at a couple different shows when I was in Japan in September, and she really impressed me. She stood out in a few of the shows that I saw her at. She's a very, very talented young woman. I think she's going to go places here in the near future. Also on that card, Makoto and Arisa Nakajima face one of my favorites, Rina Yamashita and Kaho Kobayashi. Also on the 5th, Pure J is at the Kame Arena in Tokyo. On the 6th, Gatsu moves at Ichikaya Chocolate Square. So all the people that are still there from the Wrestle Kingdom shows, go see Gato move at Ichikaya Chocolate Square. If you don't, you're going to regret it. Not sure if there's tickets still available, but go see. But yeah, if you have the opportunity, go to Ichikaya Chocolate Square. And finally on the 8th, Actress Girls are at Shinkiba First Ring. Let's let's take a quick look at where Joshi performers are performing outside of Japan. Eve Riot Girls of Wrestling present Wrestle Queendom 3 on January 11th in London. Maki Ito faces Session Moth Martina, and Yuka Sakazaki will face the winner of the match between Nightshade and Lana Austin, who face each other at Eve's Battle Cry event on January 4th. Ticket information will be available in the show notes. Sumi Sakai returns to Southern California on January 10th at PCW's Ultra Anniversary Show. She'll be defending her Ultra's Women's Championship against Ruby Reyes. Again, we'll put links for the tickets in the show notes. Ruby Reyes is really a standout performer in Southern California right now. She's finally getting her due, I think, as in recognition from people outside of Southern California. Tokyo Joshi Pro will be at WrestleMania weekend on Friday, April 3rd at WrestleCon. More information on this for on-sale date for tickets is forthcoming. I've reached out again trying to get information. Was told that because it's so crazy right now in Tokyo with Wrestle Kingdom and all the Tokyo Joshi Pro shows going on right now during the Wrestle Kingdom week that they're probably going to announce something after those shows, after the dust settles from those shows.
Hey everyone, this is the Pink Dream Alex Gracia, and you're listening to the Joshi Pod.
Before I get into the big main event interview with Avary, I want to again thank you guys all for downloading this episode of the Joshi Pod. If you'd like to follow the show on Twitter, you can at the Joshi Pod. You can follow me on Twitter at Eric San Diego. Remember to visit Pro Wrestling Tees from January 1st to January 5th. You can get 20% off everything on the site using the code NEWYEAR, one word. Support past guests like Kikyo and Nicole Savoy. I'll put a link for the Joshi wrestlers who have Pro Wrestling Tees stores on the show notes. It's a great way to support the women. Yuka Sakazaki has a shirt on there. Riho, Hikaru Shida, Aja Kong, Hiroyo Matsumoto. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com. Take advantage of that 20% off. And the Got to Move Again, like I said earlier in the show, has new shirts available. So if you bought the first round of shirts, go back on there and save 20% using the code NEWYEAR. Again, thank you guys for downloading this episode. We'll see you next week. Arigatou gozaimasu. Our guest this week is one of the top performers in Australia. And in August of last year, 2019's last year now, she was selected to come over to Stardom to take part in their 5-Star Grand Prix. Gonna welcome to the show Avary. I had to do some editing with the interview a little bit, outsmart technology. But we start the conversation with Avary, asking her about how she was selected to come over to Stardom. Enjoy the interview. Do you know how they decided to pick you, or why they selected you to come over?
I honestly have no idea. It has always been a massive dream of mine to work in Stardom, and it's always been that thing which I've wanted to travel the world and get as much experience up and just get as good as I can, basically, train hard, and then maybe try my luck in trying to get into Stardom. So it definitely was a big shock when they contacted me.
So is it Stardom specifically you wanted to go to, or just Japan in general?
It was actually Stardom. It was the first company that I started watching in Japan, probably because it's the biggest female one. And yeah, I mean, obviously everyone that starts watching it falls in love with it because the women are just crazily incredible. So I started watching it when I first started wrestling way, a long time ago. And that was, always the one which was just like, that's hell, it's some of the best women in the world right there. I really want to work for that.
So you get picked to come to Stardom. You fly over, or what do you do to prepare to before you come over? How do you prepare yourself to be ready for the Japanese wrestling? I'm sure you've heard stories about Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, basically everything I was told and everything I heard was, except for from one person. I remember Scarlett giving me some advice towards it, and everything she said was awesome, but everybody else that gave me some advice or anything heading into it, I got there and it was completely wrong. It was completely different than what everyone had told me, so I went in very much blind, and I think all I really did was train, because I knew I would be a large person there. I knew I would be very tall. I knew I would be heavier. Whereas in Australia, I'm used to getting thrown around like an absolute rag doll. I'm usually one of the smaller wrestlers here, but I knew I would be a quite large, quite tall, heavier person. So I had to just kind of completely change up everything that I'd kind of learnt up until then, and just start trying to be this powerhouse. It was hilarious, but
So did Rossi greet you at the airport?
He was, I think he was supposed to, but he was really busy that day. Something ended up coming up, and one of the men, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible person, I've completely forgotten his name. One of the men, lovely guy there who drove us around everywhere basically in all the shows, he ended up picking me up. It was a bit of a communication barrier. I don't speak any Japanese. He spoke a bit of broken English, so it was kind of like is this you, this random foreign white girl at the airport? And I'm like, I hope you're the right person. Let's get in your car.
So did they take you straight over to the apartment, or what happened then?
Yeah, they took me straight to the apartment where usually all the foreign girls stay, and so I went straight there. I met the other girls, and it was, I think the first thing that happened was I was given a strong 0, and the rest was a bit blurry. But
who gave you the strong 0? Can I guess?
Yeah, take a wild guess.
Martina?
No, it's Jamie.
Oh, Jamie. Oh.
Yeah, she greeted me with a strong 0. She's a couple in the fridge, and I'm like, oh, well, I've heard so much about these. I obviously have to give them a try. I think I had about 2 of them, and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm already legless.
I'm looking for them in America. I can't find them. I had a few while I was there as well.
Apparently, Amazon is where you get them from. That's where everyone's, because I see everyone getting them, and I'm like, where are you pulling these from? Amazon.
But I hear they're crazy expensive on Amazon.
Yeah, it's definitely not the Australian 30 cents you were looking for. But
I'm going back in March. I'm going to hide some in my suitcase when I come home.
Oh, do it. That's what I did.
All right. So how many days were you there before you actually had your first match at Shinkiba?
I think it was 2. So I think I landed on the 15th. Yeah, I think I landed on the 15th, and the first match was the 17th. So it was really not long after I landed, I had the first match. I think I had like one dojo session, or the next day we went straight to the was it the interviews, what's it called? Well, you kind of sit down and you talk about yourself, essentially, why you should win this 5-star Grand Prix. And so that was the next day after I landed, and the day after that was the match. So
is that when they do all the fancy pictures with your sash on and stuff?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's amazing. How awesome was that?
Completely surreal. I'm definitely terrible at promos and speaking, and trying to make myself seem good. I'm terrible at that. I'm very good at the self-deprecation jokes, but anything else, I'm not that great on the mic. So
just tell them you're trying to speak simple English so they understand.
Basically, I was just like, yeah, I've winged it. And then I think Sonny obviously saw I was like crapping me decks, and so he's like, oh, it's okay, relax, just, act strong, act tough, or whatever you want to do. And I was just like, oh crap. It was probably the scariest part of the whole trip.
So your first match was against Natsuko Tora, Rina, and Ruaka. Kind of got your feet wet at Shinkiba Ring? Yes.
Oh, the first match was crazy because it was my first match there. I remember one girl was so young. She just turned 15, and the other one was 15, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to get my ass handed to me by 2 15-year-olds. And
it's like playing a video game.
it was a lot of fun.
Okay, so then you're thrown straight into the fire when you gotta face Momo Watanabe. What was that like?
Probably one of my favorite matches, honestly. She is someone that I admired, watched religiously on the Stardom, but meeting her in person and everything was a completely different experience. And she was just so incredibly lovely, and she just, they're so incredibly lovely, and you get out there and they just start wailing on each other. I love it.
What surprised? Anything surprised you when you wrestled Momo? Like strikes, anything like that at all?
I can't say anything surprised me because I was expecting quite a lot. I was expecting to get hit pretty brutally. I was expecting a very tough match, obviously, but I can't say a lot surprised me. But just being in the ring in the first singles match was very, very surreal and very, very, that whole in itself was shocking and surprising.
So then you keep going. Your next match is against Mayu. Your next singles match is against Mayu.
Yeah, my next singles match was against the Stardom icon, Mayu. And that was, again, I think I was crapping my ducks most for that one because, yeah, she's the Stardom icon. She's pretty much, the first thing you see when you click on a Stardom page. And so I was, very, very nervous going into that one.
Is she as good as advertised in the ring, you think?
Oh, beyond. She's so amazing. I can't stress how crazily awesome it was. The way she just moves and sells and bumps and lands, everything about her was just. I was just I remember just selling, watching on the ground, looking at her. I'm just like, Jesus Christ! What have I gotten myself into?
So how did you communicate in the ring with her or with all the women?
Honestly, you just didn't. You have different, hand signals. You have different, for instance, the Iggy's and stuff, which is a very universal wrestling language, and that's pretty much all you have. If anything kind of went wrong and you needed to say anything, I was blind. I couldn't really say anything. I remember Ida and Leo, they taught me some basic words like hurt and right knee and pain and things like that. They taught me basic words, but other than that, it was very much, So
after the Mayu match, you got about a week before your next match. What kind of things did you do in Japan during your week off?
What I found pretty, which I really, really loved, even the days off, the foreign girls were down at the dojo, rallying each other up. They're definitely trying to help me as much as they could. So they would bring me down to the dojo, really trying get me moving, get me bumping, get me, trying to get me up to standard. So I really, really respected them for that. And then it was dojo again for about 3 days. And we had about 2 days off a week, roughly. And, even then, the foreign girls would take me down to the dojo and just, keep me training, keep me moving. You go to the gym. We definitely got into some drunken debauchery and, had some drinks and went out partying. I think we only went out partying twice on the trip, which was quite a lot considering how jam-packed the schedule was, but it was a lot of fun.
And the foreign girls were B and Jamie and Martina?
Yeah. Martina wasn't there when I was there, unfortunately, but it was,
that's right, she wasn't there, yeah.
Yeah, I think there was supposed to be Kelsey Owens, but she was supposed to be in the 5-star tour, but I think something happened and something ended up going a bit skew-iff there. Something wrong with the visas, or I don't know.
So next you got Hana Kimura. I'm sorry, we're going a little match by match here a little bit, just so I can.
No, that's all right. Okay. It's helping me remember because it was a fair bit ago.
So, what's Hannah like?
That was probably one of the most fun I've had. Her charisma in the ring was just another level. A lot of things weren't planned and stuff, and she just went for it and really gave it her all. And obviously she's so charismatic in the ring. It's hard to be in there with it and not just swoon. But it was do you think her charisma could translate outside of Japan? Oh, 100%. I know she's a fan of the Western culture. I remember talking to her about RuPaul's Drag Race, and we communicated over that, and we both were a big fan of that. And she, she's such a funny person. She's got such a big sense of humor, and
Did you meet her mom at all?
Yeah, I think I met her mom. I did meet her mom. It took me a moment to I recognized who I was talking to in the moment. But once I did, it was a little bit starstruck. There was I remember there was also a girl who came to every single show who would wear the same big pink braids as Hannah was. And she was only just walking, and she was wearing the big same cargo pants and shiny glittery makeup, and it was just the coolest thing.
Mini Hannah, I took a picture of her.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say every show she was at. I thought it was the coolest thing.
She's so cute.
100%. I reckon Hannah could kill it worldwide.
All right, so next you got your first win against Saki Kashima.
Yeah, that was long time to figure out like a finishing move that worked, and it took me a long time to figure out how things actually started to work. But I guess once I finally did, I got a win over Saki, and that was shocking to me.
So you're a little bit bigger than her, so were you able to throw her around a little bit?
It's such like a almost like, I know why girls really, really, really try and aim for strength, because that's something that I've never really tried to do, is just get as bulky as I can. But I have an utmost respect for the girls who just practice strength training religiously, because the feeling of throwing someone else around was awesome. I felt like the Hulk. I felt like a Superman. It was the best. It was like, I mean, yeah, I was probably about double her size, and it was, I mean, they, like, all of the girls completely out-agiled me. They were running circles around me, but it was a pretty awesome feeling.
Well, speaking of the next one, Hazuki's a pretty athletic young woman. Yeah,
she, I think, quite literally just 100% out-wrestled me. For the, like, looking back at the Hazuki, my match with Hazuki, she was just, like, kind of like AZM, Azumi. They just ran circles around me, basically.
Isn't it kind of crazy she retired so young?
Oh, I remember talking to her backstage, and she has this almost the same birthday as me. We both turned 21 in August, and I was looking at her, and then I saw her retirement over the internet, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like, that's very young. Obviously, she's either going on a different path, or she's, you know, doing what's best for her. But I mean, I was like, oh wow, I'm really like just getting started.
All right, then you fight, wrestle another pretty icon of, I think, an icon of Stardom at this point, Tam Nakano.
Oh my gosh, hands down, that's got to be one of my favorite matches throughout the whole tournament. I had with the most insane fun. Watching her wrestle and move in the ring was just, watching it online before I met her was just crazy. And then seeing her in person was another level. And then actually being in the ring with her was like, I think I was more starstruck the whole time than anything.
Sounds like that's awesome, though.
Yeah, no, I'm just a massive fangirl, so talking to me is terrible about this.
So you wrestled Azumi next. She said she ran circles around you?
Yep, absolutely. She's a tiny ninja. She was just a little 16-year-old ninja.
I mean, how good is she for being so young?
Oh, it was incredible. Like, watching them was just, I couldn't do that at 16.
So, the dojo training, was it with only the foreign girls, or did you work with Mayu and Kagetsu as well?
Oh, no, we worked with everyone. Definitely worked with everyone. Every training session, there was someone different. Every dojo, there was someone different. Every time we were there's somebody else taking a class, or there was, like, you know, sometimes there was different structures, sometimes there was different areas, like we'd go for big runs and things, and there's always somebody else leading it, somebody else, like different people there. Just on the days off, it was mainly the foreign girls that took me down and helped boot my butt a bit.
So what was it like training with Mayu?
Mayu, she's very quiet. I remember she was very, very quiet. I didn't speak any Japanese, which obviously I very much should have learnt before I went over there. I think I had about 2 months to prepare, so I was a bit hit and miss. But not very much a language barrier, so I couldn't really talk to her much. But I mean, she's crazily athletic. She's just kind of turns into this different person when she's in the ring. Just it's awesome to watch.
Kagetsu seems so cool to me. Is she as cool outside the ring as she seems inside the ring?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's pretty bloody cool to look at in the ring, so that's saying something. She's just as awesome outside of it. She's just like this laid back, happy, awesome girl, and it was just it was great. I got to have a few conversations with her, thankfully, because she spoke a little bit of English, which was awesome. So I got to have a few conversations with her.
That's good. All right, so your last match is the one that I saw live, was with Natsu. I ask everybody about Natsu because she's so different than anybody else. Tell me what it's like to wrestle Natsu.
So much fun. I think that was the one I was like looking forward to because I'm like, okay, I can get in some like weird character stuff in here because she goes a little bit on the same wavelengths as I do, and so I was like, awesome. We were allowed to get some like cool character things in here, and it was it was planning a match with her was very different than planning a match with the other girls, but it was equally as fun. Equally as fun. Yeah, it was.
And you got the Bronco Buster from her.
And it was the best moment of my life. It's only downhill from here.
I think a lot of people are jealous of you.
Oh, I've definitely. It should be.
It's so great you had so much fun. All right, so your last match in Stardom was a championship match against Arisa Hoshiki.
Yeah, I didn't find that out until on the day of Kurikan Hall. Kurikan? Sorry, I butchered that language. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it was I only found out that day. Rossi pulled me aside and he's like, we're going to give you an opportunity for the white belt. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, have you watched me this 5-star? Like, are you sure? And then he's like, yeah. And I was like, absolutely. He's like, okay, go out and cut a promo once Kagetsu and Arisa finished their match. I was like, you mean I have to come out after Kagetsu and Arisa had a match? So obviously it's going to be 5-star and blown out of the park, and I have to come out after that and talk. I was like, Jesus. I was but I'm so grateful I got given that opportunity. Absolutely.
Did she kick your head off?
Yes. I think I remember watching it back and like I was trying to like protect my head a few times, and I remember a couple of times I would put my hand up and then just completely like not block the kick at all. It's just still just like would whack me in the head. I remember getting I think it was the last 2 knees, just being like, well, I'm just gonna let it happen. Just like tasting blood by the end of it.
So kind of sum up your experience with Stardom.
Insane, incredible. Like, it was an experience I've had like no other. The schedule, the wrestling itself, the passion that they have, it's a life, it's a job for them, and it's incredible. It was amazing to be a part of it. I don't think I could stay there for more than like a year at a time without maybe breaking in half, but I don't know how they do it, honestly, but would I definitely go back? Absolutely. It was the most incredible experience. I'd love to do it again.
What did you take back in ring from Japan back to Australia?
I think the biggest thing it kind of taught me is just that fighting spirit that they have. Like, they'll get kicked 12 times and just get back up again and keep going and just keep throwing everything they have into it. And that was just the most impressive thing for me that I just wanted to, definitely take back home and try and channel that passion. And I just wanted to be on that level. It was inspiring. So I'm still really, really trying to kick ass. I'm still training hard, and hopefully, one day, I'll get up to that level. And it's just, I think that's my biggest thing I'm taking away from it.
What bit of advice would you give yourself now that if you could talk to yourself before you went over? What advice would you give yourself?
I think I was trying too hard in the wrong places, and I think a biggest advice would just be yourself. Focus on your wrestling. Focus on what you do best in the ring. Don't try and do something that you be someone you're not, and don't try and do things you've never done before. Just really do what you know you're good at.
Good. What's your, you want to share your social medias?
I'll go for it. I'm a bit quiet on Twitter at the moment, but Instagram, it's Avary_PW. Go for it. Give me a follow. I do nothing but post things about me making a fool of myself. It's a lot of fun.
I appreciate you joining the show, and hopefully we'll see you back in Japan soon.
That's all good. Thank you so much for having me on it.
Thank you.